Valentine's Day always falls on February 14th. Across the United States and other places around the world, loved ones exchange sweets, flowers and gifts, all in the name of Valentine's Day. But who is this mysterious saint and where did these traditions come from? Learn about the meaning and history of Valentine's Day, from the ancient Roman ritual of Lupercalia, which welcomes spring, to the card-giving customs of Victorian England. The legend of Saint Valentine. Where did Valentine's Day come from? The history of the holiday, and the story of its patron saint, is shrouded in mystery. We know that February has long been celebrated as the month of romance, and that Valentine's Day as we know it today contains remnants of both Christian and ancient Roman traditions. But who was Saint Valentine and how did he become associated with this ancient rite? The Catholic Church recognizes at least 3 different saints named Valentine or Valentinus, all of whom were martyred. One legend claims that Valentine was a priest who served during the 3rd century in Rome. When Emperor Claudius II decided that single men were better soldiers than those with wives and families, he banned marriage for young men. Realizing the injustice of the decree, Valentine defied Claudius and continued to arrange marriages for young lovers in secret. When Valentine's actions were revealed, Claudius ordered that he be put to death. Others insist that the true namesake of this feast was Saint Valentine of Terni, the bishop. He too was beheaded outside Rome by Claudius II. Other stories suggest that Valentine may have been killed for trying to help Christians escape from harsh Roman prisons, where they were often beaten and tortured. According to one legend, the imprisoned Valentine actually sent the first Valentine greeting himself after falling in love with a young girl, perhaps the daughter of his jailer, who visited him during his incarceration. Before his death, he is said to have written her a letter signed from your Valentine, an expression that is still used today. Although the truth behind Valentine's legends is unclear, all the stories highlight his appeal as a likable, heroic and, most importantly, romantic figure. In the Middle Ages, perhaps because of this reputation, Valentine became one of the most popular saints in England and France. Origins of Valentine's Day, a pagan festival in February. While some believe that Valentine's Day is celebrated in mid-February to commemorate the anniversary of Valentine's death or burial which probably occurred around 270 AD, others argue that the Christian Church may have decided to place the Feast of St. February in an attempt to Christianize the pagan celebration of Lupercalia. Celebrated in February or February 15th, Lupercalia was a fertility festival dedicated to Faun, the Roman god of agriculture, and also to Rome's founders, Romulus and Remus. To open the festival, members of the Luperci, an order of Roman priests, gathered in a sacred cave where the infants Romulus and Remus, the founders of Rome, were believed to have been nursed by a she-wolf or lupa. The priests sacrificed a goat for fertility and a dog for purification. Then they stripped the goat skins into strips, dipped them in sacrificial blood, and went out into the streets, gently slapping both the women and the grain fields with the goat skins. Far from being afraid, Roman women welcomed the touch of their skins, as it was believed to make them more fertile in the coming year. Later in the day, according to legend, all the young women in town placed their names in a large urn. The town's bachelors each chose a name and were paired with their chosen woman for a year. These matches often ended in marriage. Meaning of Valentine's Day, a day of romance and love. Lupercalia survived the initial rise of Christianity, but was outlawed, as it was considered unchristian in the late 5th century, when Pope Gelasius proclaimed February 14th as Valentine's Day. It wasn't until much later, however, that the day was definitively associated with love. During the Middle Ages in France and England, February 14th was commonly believed to be the beginning of the mating season for birds, which contributed to the idea that Valentine's Day should be a day for romance in the middle. The English poet Geoffrey Chaucer was the first to record Valentine's Day as a day of romantic celebration in his 1375 poem Parliament of Foules, writing, "This was said on St. Valentine's Day / why every fool comes to choose his kind." Valentine greetings were popular as early as the Middle Ages, although written Valentine greetings did not begin to appear until after 1400. The oldest known Valentine that still exists today was a poem written in 1415 by Charles, Duke of Orleans, to his wife. He was imprisoned in the Tower of London after his capture at the Battle of Agincourt. The greeting is now part of the manuscript collection of the British Library in London, England. A few years later, King Henry V is believed to have hired a writer named John Lydgate to compose a Valentine's message to Catherine of Valois. Who is Cupid? Cupid is often depicted on Valentine's Day cards as a naked cherub shooting arrows of love at unsuspecting lovers. But the Roman god Cupid has his roots in Greek mythology as the Greek god of love, Eros. Accounts of his birth vary, Some say he is the son of Nyx and Erebus, others, Aphrodite and Ares, others suggest he is the son of Iris and Zephyr or even Aphrodite and Zeus, who would be both his father and grandfather. According to Greek archaic poets, Eros was a handsome immortal who toyed with the emotions of gods and men, using golden arrows to incite love and lead arrows to sow aversion. It wasn't until the Hellenistic period that he began to be depicted on Valentine's Day cards as the mischievous, chubby child he became. Typical Valentine greetings and gifts. In addition to the United States, Valentine's Day is also celebrated in Canada, Mexico, the United Kingdom, France, and Australia. In Great Britain, Valentine's Day began to be popularly celebrated around the 17th century. By the mid-18th century, it was common for friends and lovers of all walks of life to exchange small tokens of affection or handwritten notes, and from the 1900s, printed cards began to replace written letters as printing technology improved. Pre-made cards were an easy way for people to express their emotions at a time when direct expression of one's feelings was discouraged. Cheaper postage also contributed to the increase in the popularity of sending Valentine's cards. Americans probably began exchanging handmade Valentines in the early 18th century. In the 1840s, Esther A. Howland began selling the first mass-produced Valentines in America. Known as Mother Valentine, Howland created elaborate creations with real lace, ribbons, and colorful images known as scrap. Today, according to Hallmark, an estimated 145 million Valentine's Day cards are sent each year, making Valentine's Day the second largest card-sending holiday of the year. More cards are sent at Christmas.